Diddy got 50 months in prison when the sentencing guidelines say 70 to 87 months is what he should have gotten. The maximum would have been 120 months per count. So 2 counts, 240 if you stack them. We heard all the crazy evidence, so why did the judge sentence him so low? I'm a trial lawyer, let me explain. First off, the judge is only sentencing on the counts for which the jury convicted Diddy. He can't sentence him on the other counts. Case law says the judge can consider the evidence of the other counts, the domestic violence, the criminal organization, all that, only if the judge thinks that that evidence was proven by a preponderance of the evidence. But there's a strong push for judges to not consider dismissed evidence too much. Some people say they shouldn't consider it at all. Here, the judge mentioned the violence. He did kind of consider the evidence, but he also gave a lot of reasons as to why he sentenced the bad boy to not life. One of the biggest things the judge said was that the prosecutor's request of 135 months was unreasonable. He clearly thought it was over the top because he also said he needed to sentence the defendant, Diddy, to what was sufficient but not greater than necessary. This has been the whole theme of this prosecution, right? They keep overreaching. First, they overreached with the charges. Now they're overreaching with the sentence recommendation. It's kind of like when you're negotiating at the swap meet and the guy gives you a price of like 50 bucks for a trinket. And you say, give it to me for $5. That price is so unreasonable that the guy's gonna just be like, nah, I'm sticking to 50. But if you said something more reasonable, like, hey, give it to me for 30, he might say 40. He might even say, all right, 35. He would feel like you're being at least on the same page with him, so he'd have this urge to make you feel like he's fair. It's the same thing with judges. The prosecutors here said 135 months, and the judge was like, that's more than 120 months max. Remember, each one is 120 months max. He basically said, nah, I'm just gonna have to figure this out on my own because they were just being way too crazy. So the judge had to consider all the factors on his own. He considered Diddy's family ties and ties to the community. He considered Diddy's lack of recent criminal history and his mental health history. He also weighed that against the testimony talking about the violence, coercion, and harm to victims. But his mantra was sufficient but not greater than necessary. Ultimately, the judge thought that 50 months met that burden. But just imagine if the prosecutors weren't so over the top, weren't so gung-ho. Do you think they overcharged in the first place? Do you think they got unreasonable with their sentencing recommendation of 135 months, especially given that Diddy was acquitted on the big charges? Leave a comment and let me know.